but he was one of the 8-quarter kids this season. The coaching staff's really high on him, playing the center position. And I tell you what, if you want to talk about a kid that loves the grind of it, not just playing, he loves the whole thing, the grind, everything that has to do with the game of football. That's Luke, and I was really excited to see him getting a chance to play tonight.
Well, I thought I'd give you an opportunity to mention him and get some brownie points with Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up.
Well, let's be honest. We start looking, guys. Crest loses very few games when a Root gets on the field. So let's just be honest. Crest does not lose many when a Root gets to play, and we're just going to continue doing that with Luke as well. So that's what we do with the Chargers.
All right, Rob.
I love it, Robbie. I love it.
All right, guys. We'll let you get back to scores and hear from everybody else, and we look forward to talking to you next week. Try to bring home a big victory as we take on the Grizzlies.
Hey, before you leave, have you seen anything in Oak Grove? What do you think is the key for next week?
Well, again, and I'm a big fan of looking at schedules when it comes to the playoffs. A matter of fact, what I mentioned in the pregame of this one, this team that Crest played tonight, they had a 6-game winning streak, but 5 of those teams had worse rankings in the Max Prep rankings than Stuart Kramer and North Gaston.
Yeah.
So they had not seen talented football teams. I looked at Oak Grove's schedule. That get into it too deep, but they actually did not play as good a schedule as they did 2 years ago when Crest seen them. So I think, again, they could maybe be shocked a little bit by what Crest brings to the stadium. Keep an eye on that, what their strength of schedule was for them.
Well, Robbie, you talked about this a while ago. You look at Crest's record, and those 2 losses are by 2 points combined. So
yeah.
combined. That's Crest is, you could arguably make, and not take anything away from South Point or Kings Mountain, but you could arguably make that you're playing a number 1 seed, or you're playing probably the number 1 that should have been the number 1 seed in the West, if not number 1, number 2, because you take away one or 2 plays, and again, not taking anything away, but Crest is not your typical. What are they, 11th seed?
Or 11th seed. Absolutely.
That's not your typical 11th seed.
That's a hard job for an 11th seed to come in as good as Crest is.
Yeah.
And that's actually one thing, since we're on that topic, guys, tonight they're talking in the press box, with the realignment coming next year, going to 8 classifications, one thing the coaches and ADs have asked to do away with the conference champions getting automatic spots at the top. They said if we're going to 8 classifications, when you start seeding for the playoffs, you should seed by the RPI. Whoever the number 1 RPI is, they should be the 1 seed. So you could have a conference like the Big South, maybe gets 4 of the top 5 seeds could be possible.
Right.
Well,
but
Robbie,
like I said, they've got to do away from these conference champions, especially going to all these split conferences.
Robbie, we play one game at a time, but Will, I didn't know if you were tuned in yet to hear what we were talking about. Will made the statement, something about the Hickory Red Tornadoes. Can anybody beat them? And I told him to look for the 3rd round.
Dennis, I'm going to tell you, you better look to the 2nd round. Statesville had Hickory beat. Statesville had Hickory beat in the game against the Greyhounds. And Statesville started messing around and had some penalties that cost them late. That's an excellent game in round 2, Hickory and Statesville. Maybe Hickory wakes up, but Statesville had them beat last time they played.
Okay.
I just listen. I love my Chargers. Take nothing from this Red Tornado team. They the real deal.
Well, they're the defending state champions.
They the real deal.
We're not playing them. They're not a puff of smoke. But like Robbie said, you've got South Point. You've got Kings Mountain. You've got Crest. I think those teams can line up and go toe-to-toe with the Hickory Red Tornadoes.
I don't want to take anything away from Hickory. They're defending state champs. They deserve it. But you go back, look at last year's playoff, guys. The top half of that bracket where Crest was the 1 seed was a freaking gauntlet. That those teams, whoever come out of that half to get to Hickory, was going to be beat up.
Yeah.
Dudley was the team that come out, and that game went late, playing on a sloppy field against those athletes. You can say what you want to. Hickory had a cakewalk last year in the playoffs, so they got to Dudley. They're going to get a little bit more competition this year in the playoffs.
I think so. I think it's going to come a little earlier than what they got last year. So they're going to have to deal with the trouble that Chris had to deal with last year.
Well, Robbie, I go back to probably the best high school playoff game I ever saw was down at Charlotte Catholic when we played them down there. and Ledbetter was the running back, and you know how that turned out. We won the game, but then we turned around the next week to play in the state championship, and we were so beat up and bruised we couldn't function as a football team. And I think Hickory may get into that situation this year.
You keep reaching into the bucket to see what you can bring out. Remember that Crest team also had to go to Asheville and play. They had to go to Catholic and play. They get against a very good Northern Guilford team. They reach out into that bucket to try to pull something else out, and at that point, there's nothing left to pull out. And that's exactly what happened to that team. So, you can, depending on what your road looks like, you could definitely rest some guys, move through some playoffs, those kind of things. Absolutely.
I can turn on my TV on Sunday and say, oh, yeah, we played against him. Yeah, we played against him. Oh, yeah, we played against him. And I can watch the Vikings and say, and he played for us.
That's exactly right.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So, guys, let me get off of here, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Robbie. Look forward to hearing from you.
See you now. Bye-bye.
Hey, guys, let's go ahead and go through the scores again. I did not start the streaming live on YouTube, so the people came in about halfway through Robbie's phone call. So let's go through these scores again, so the people who may not be watching, they could be driving, they could. We got another caller. Okay.
What did you say?
Okay. JP, did you say David Parker, Ponder, or what? Potter.
David Potter.
Lincoln County.
Yeah,
Lincoln County.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
Hey, David, what's up, man?
Well, what's up is we're about done in Lincoln County here.
Yeah, Lincoln County took a hit tonight. What game were you at, or which game did you go to?
Well, we were at the one team that advanced. We did the North Lincoln game, and they won 43-13. East Lincoln went down to defeat his Kings Mountain 38-28. Lincolnton couldn't come back on Maiden this time, so their season is done. And West Lincoln gave up a 2-point conversion in Mount Pleasant late, and they lose 36-35. So North Lincoln is the only team left out of Lincoln County. They will play the winner of South Rowan and West Henderson next week.
Yeah, and that game,
that was West Henderson.
Well, West Henderson was winning 13-6. That's the last score I had from them. David,
we weren't seeing anything on Max Preps on that. So,
I was listening to the first part of that North Lincoln game. It looked like North Lincoln was pretty much in control the entire game.
They were. They were scoring pretty much on every possession. They had 454 yards offense. It could have been over 500. They actually threw the ball tonight. A couple touchdown passes. They had 3 other ones that could have been long touchdown passes. North
Coach
Davidson,
Basil putting the ball in the air. We got Aaron Basil without AJ.
Well, I think he was trying to show something for people next week. And they've thrown the ball well this year. They came into the game averaging 23 yards per catch when they did throw the ball.
Yeah.
They just don't throw it very often.
I think a lot of the running back for North Lincoln, isn't it Shannon Wingate? Is that his name?
Yeah, he had 160 yards on 23 carries tonight.
Yeah.
And then Landon Agee chipped in 9 carries for 111, and he also caught a touchdown pass.
Okay.
Of 54 yards.
David, since you're down to one team, I'm going to go ahead and bring up a question because I need your experience. You've watched the Lincoln County teams. You're familiar with them. You know what's going on. Shannon's got the numbers for these new projected classifications, if you will. What's your thoughts on a conference that would contain, say, North Lincoln, East Lincoln, Crest, and several of the other teams, sort of a blending of Lincoln County and Cleveland County with a few Gaston County schools in there, maybe a South Point or a North Gaston or something. What would be your take on that from Lincoln County's perspective?
I think from anybody's perspective, it'd be good God, that'd be a loaded conference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're talking about, too, in the future that you get ranked not by you win the conference, but by your RPI. Can you imagine the RPI for those teams that are doing well in that conference?
Oh, yeah. I mean, right now in the conference, you had Hickory, Statesville, and North Lincoln. They were all in the top 10 in the RPI for the West 3A West. So They're doing pretty good as it is with this conference. So that conference would really be, the opponent's winning percentage and the opponent's winning percentage might be pretty stout in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
problem with North Lincoln is they've got 26 seniors this year. I'll be curious to see what they look like next year.
Well, the one thing that
they're still playing.
The one thing that I would
not going to worry about next year yet.
Yeah, the one thing that I would have loved to have seen. Obviously, we can't do it now, but at least for the past 3 to 4 years, I would have loved to have had a Lincoln County, Cleveland County conference, which, using the numbers that we're using right now, that would have been a 2A, 3A conference. You would have had Burns, Shelby, West Lincoln, and Lincoln for 2A, and then you'd had four 3A teams, which would have been North Lincoln, East Lincoln, Crest, and Kings Mountain. Now that would have been a gauntlet, 8-game gauntlet to go through, but that would have been better. Now, you guys really weren't affected. Your conference for the past 4 years has been outstanding. Actually, it's probably one of the better ones around here. I'm just talking about for Cleveland County schools. That would have been a great move just to get those Lincoln Shelby rivalries going again, the West Lincoln Burns rivalry going, and then you would introduce Crest to West Lincoln. You would introduce Crest to North Lincoln, and obviously East Lincoln has they play games against Shelby, against Kings Mountain, obviously. And I don't know if they've played Crest in the past in football. I know they've done it in
last
baseball,
time
but
I actually went over and coached against East Lincoln in the early 70s, but we'll leave it at that.
I was going to say the last time I remember East Lincoln, I was
back in the Ford
playing.
administration.
Only opened in
We had leather helmets, the whole deal. You know?
No, that would have been a great conference. But David, let's talk about these other games tonight. I know you weren't there, but I don't know if you've heard anything about the Mount Pleasant West Lincoln. Mount Pleasant was up early in that game. West Lincoln battled back and were ahead late in that ball game.
35-28.
Yeah, and Mount Pleasant scored the go ahead and obviously the winning touchdown to take that 1-point lead. Do you know how many seniors West Lincoln has that they're going to lose? You mentioned North Lincoln's going to lose a good number. What about West Lincoln?
I'm trying to find their roster here in my stack of garbage here.
Okay.
I like how you put that too.
Hey, garbage has done pretty well lately.
I've got their roster. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I see 19 seniors.
19 from West Lincoln?
Yes.
Yeah, then that's and again, we just doing this show for the past I don't know how many years. West Lincoln for a long time they were your homecoming game.
Yeah.
And then it seemed like around COVID, during the 2020, maybe a little bit, maybe a couple years before COVID, something happened. Yeah, they turned it around, and it was
the last part of Tom Rose when he was the coach. He got them going the right direction. Now with Darren Ponder, they've been in the playoffs every year. Yeah. This is the first year they haven't won 8 games in about 7 years now. Right. They've been on a pretty consistent roll.
Yeah, and if we think back to that spring year when we played football in the spring, West Lincoln beat South Point. I don't know if anybody remembers that.
Yeah, they beat them in the playoffs.
They beat them in the playoffs. That's
beat them in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the only they're undefeated at home.
Yeah,
in the playoffs.
Right, that's right. And West Lincoln.
West has had some injury issues. They just haven't really looked like what you normally would expect out of West Lincoln. Injuries happen.
Yeah.
North Lincoln had a bunch of injuries, but they seem to overcome. But 26 seniors helps along the line there.
Right.
So.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, so moving from West, let's go talk about Lincoln a little bit. Obviously, a big game against Maiden. Any final things you want to say about the Lincoln team this year that maybe they're going to build on for next year? Or do you know much about that? Much about them?
Well, they their first 4 games of the season is like murderer's row. They had North Lincoln, they had East Lincoln, they had South Point, and then they opened up their conference with Bunker Hill. All teams that went to the playoffs and had really good records this year.
Right.
South Point and North Lincoln look like they're going to go. They could go a ways in the 3A playoffs. Bunker Hill could go away in the 2A playoffs. So they have a brutal early schedule. I don't know if they're going to reconsider that or not. But once they got past that, they won 6 straight games. They were in the hunt to win the conference.
Yeah.
They ended up tying for it.
Yeah, they had a real successful conference
And I
season
guess
for
the
sure.
magic ran out because they were making comebacks. There were a lot of second-half comebacks for them this year, and they were starting to do it against Maiden, it looked like tonight, but they just ran out of time, it looks like.
Okay. All right, well, listen, Dave, we're up against the break. We're going to go ahead and take a break now. We appreciate your calling in.
Appreciate you, David.
And,
we'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely. And see
yeah, we'll see where we'll be.
All right, man, you have a good weekend.
All right, thanks. You too.
Thanks. We got Tom Senafani waiting, but we'll take a break. And, Tom, you call in after the break. All right, we'll be back here on KTC after these messages.
Cakes and cookies, toys and gifts.
It's the shopping event of the season, the Southern Christmas Show, November 14th through 24th at the Park Expo and Conference Center. Celebrate the 12 days of Christmas, a countdown of Yuletide cheer brimming with festive decor and seasonal magic. Buy tickets early and save at southernChristmasShow.com. Online tickets courtesy of Kraft Body Scan.
Let's go to the Southern Christmas Show.
Here comes Duke.
He's got it! Touchdown! Down he goes!
Attack the day.
10-5, good night! Hit hard, the ball came out, it slipped out of his hand, and it's intercepted!
Bleed blue.
Wide open! Touchdown! And the Blue Devils walk it off at Wallace Wade!
Listen all season long on your home for Duke football. The Blue Devils Sports Network from Learfield.
There's never been a better time than right now to buy a new Massey Ferguson tractor at NC Tractor and Farm Supply in Rutherfordton. Now take $1,000 off any size Massey Ferguson tractor. That's right, take $1,000 off any model, any size. Also get big year-end savings on the remaining Bobcat zero-turn mowers and save up to $400 on bush hog cutters. NC Tractor and Farm Supply, 299 Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton. At McKinney Insurance in Shelby, they want you to know that not all insurance agencies are created equal. They go out of their way to treat their clients like people and use their combined experience of over 50 years to protect what you value most in life. McKinney Insurance is an authorized Erie insurance agency that can help you with your personal business, life, and motorcycle insurance. For your free quote, call or come by today, 113 North Lafayette Street in Shelby. Call 704-481-7522. That's 704-481-7522. It's time to get ready for Christmas with a stop in at Norris Merchandise in Shelby. Check their holiday sales on Ariat footwear and shop their big Black Friday sale coming up. And don't forget about all furniture for the home. All in-stock recliners are $100 off. Complete bedroom groups up to $500 off when you use their cash and carry option. Come on in for all the details at Norris Merchandise, 2011 South Lafayette Street, Highway 18 south of Shelby. Online at norrismerchandise.com. Like them on Facebook too.
Ingles is a proud sponsor for all levels of athletics, and when football season rolls around, we're pouring on the savings like fans pouring into the stadium. We're talking buy one, get one free offers on some of your favorite brands, everyday Advantage Card savings, low prices at the pump, and daily deals at the deli. Just another way to show our appreciation for Football Nation. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Folks Cleaners in Shelby and Forest City is open for you. Let Folks Cleaners help you keep it clean. Folks Cleaners is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. till 6 p.m., Saturdays, 8 a.m. till 12 noon. They take care of all your laundry needs and ask about their dry clean delivery service. Give them a call, 704-484-2004. Folks Cleaners, 1207 East Marion Street in Shelby and at 227 Oak Street Extension in Forest City. Keep it clean with Folks Cleaners.
When you're diagnosed with Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, you just want to feel better. Steroids help get my symptoms under control, but they come with problems and long-term risks. I need to look out for my future health. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation changed everything. They encouraged me to take action and even helped me find a specialist. We now have a plan that works for today and tomorrow. Don't put off finding an answer. Spill your guts. Learn more at spillyourguts.org.
And we're back on the Full Power Sports of Laurel post-game show with Shannon and the gang. Y'all turn on yet? There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, we good.
And we
Jake.
got Thompson Funny, the Bulldog, on the phone.
B-U-L-L. Go Bulldogs.
Yeah, great game for Bulldogs tonight. They pull out the win. Was a little in doubt there in the third quarter, especially, but just to cap things off, Burns got on the board first, had a Kaden Surratt touchdown, 26 yards, added another in a Ryan Sisk field goal from 37 yards out. It was 17-0, and North Stanley got a field goal before halftime. And then third quarter came out and really dominated. We only had one first down in the third quarter, and that was by the penalty. North Stanley got themselves a touchdown, got back in it, but Burns was able to get a late Max Davis touchdown run from 23 yards out, and that sealed the deal at 24-10. But hard fought. Give North Stanley some credit, especially their defense. If you look at the totals, Burns 65 yards passing, 177 rushing, so that Burns is held to about 250 yards, but Burns' defense forces 3 turnovers, has 5 tackles for loss, held North Stanley to 187 yards, 87 pass, 100 rushing yards. So good job by the Burns defense, especially in the first half. They hold out for a hard-fought win. Tough test on the road next week at Monroe. And we said a few times on the broadcast, one thing they need to clean up before they get there, 10 penalties for 100 yards tonight. That's not going to get it done next week against the Redhawks.
You're right.
So hopefully they'll break some things down and try to prevent some of those penalties.
Yeah, Tom, I was at the game tonight, and I was thinking that at a certain point they didn't just go ahead and step on their necks. Like, they let them hang around and they let them get confidence. And they can't. You can't play that game against the Redhawks next week. I think they were a little overconfident. That's how they came back in the second half.
Yeah, what concerned me is, I'm sure you were there, their inability to run the ball effectively until that last drive that ended up with the Davis touchdown.
Yeah.
They started getting some chunk runs on that last drive. But, Wilson, for example, his last 3 carries were all tackle for loss. He did end up with 17 carries and 80 yards. But there at the end of the game, the North Stanley defense really stepped up and, kept their team in the ball game. But I think they got a little tired on that last drive. And as I said, Burns did what you got to do in the playoffs. You got to have that one touchdown to salt it away. But you're exactly right. Let them hang around. And very much that was a ball game in the fourth quarter. It was 17-10.
Yeah, I'd say I was thinking that first quarter when they went up 14-0, and then they kicked the field goal, and then they came back and let them run the ball down. It's like they were playing around with them. Offensive line was like dragging them that first drive after the kickoff, the first drive. Offensive line drug their defensive line down the field. I mean, just overran them. I think they was picking up 10 yards a clip that one time, looked like.
Yeah, they were. I mean, they ran the ball pretty effectively on that one drive. And, they only had 2 first downs in the whole first half compared to, North Stanley gets 6. I had them for 6 in the second half, and a lot of those were rushing first downs. They had a couple of nice pass plays, too. I know you saw that. Just let some guys just kind of fell asleep a couple of times, had some guys open. But as you said, you get the 17-point lead, you're at home, you start relaxing a little bit, made it a little tough on themselves, as I said, with the penalties. But in the end, they were able to get the drive that they needed, close the thing out, get the win, and we're moving on next week. So, you're never going to play that perfect game, Will.
That's right. That's right.
We forget they're kids. You're not going to play that perfect game, but I tell you what, they're going to have to play very, very well next week against a very, very good Monroe team.
Well, Tom, traditionally Monroe has always had some great athletes. They're very quick. They like to run the ball. They throw the ball for usually large gains at a time. What do you see that Burns can do to take control of the game and keep the Monroe Redhawks in check?
Well, you have to have a similar game plan as you did against Shelby. You know, you want to run the football. You want to control the clock. They did control a lot of time of possession in the first half. And then you've got to force some turnovers. You know, against Shelby, we had 2 forced turnovers. Tonight we had 3 turnovers. And Goodson seems to be getting an interception in just about every game. He had an interception and a long return today. But that's I think that's the formula for success. Ball control, run the football. You know, I don't know how much you've seen them this year, but they're huddling up a lot, trying to shorten the game. That's what you want to do against a team that has those superstar athletes that can really score points in bunches if you give them a lot of possessions. So reduce their possessions, you know, do your job in the trenches. And our offensive line played, like I said, played pretty well. I think in the third quarter they didn't play as well as they wanted to, weren't opening up the holes like they were on those first couple of drives. But our defensive line, Devon Parrott and Joel Kendrick and a lot of those boys up front, Goodson plays on the D-line. If they can get in there and have a good game and control the line of scrimmage, I think they've got a shot. They've got a shot to pull off an upset next week at Monroe.
Well, Tom, I agree with you. That sounds like a great plan. Ball control, no mistakes, fumbles, turnovers, that kind of thing, and run the clock. They can't score if they're not on the field most of the time, and that would give Burns an advantage with your running game, as he just said, keep pounding, so to speak.
I think.
Yeah, and there's one factor is Warlick. Graham Warlick was out. And, you know, you don't realize how much he does until he's out. I mean, he's the holder on PATs. I think Tysinger came in, filled in nicely for him. He's the punter, and Woodring came in and had a good job. He did a good job.
He did.
Yeah, did a good job filling in for him punting. But he's another receiving threat. They used some other guys. For instance, Davis had a pass catch, and they used Ussery. So they had 3 or 4 different guys get involved in the passing game. But it'll be good to get Warlick back, give him that passing threat. He's also, one of the leading rushers on the team. But he does a whole lot for that football team. And when he's out, you don't realize how important it is to have your holder on a field goal. Now, like I said, Tysinger came in, did a great job.
He did.
Ryan Sisk went in there, had a 37-yard field goal, did a great job.
And I was going to say that's the key next week if that game is close.
Special teams.
Yeah.
What's that?
I was going to say that's the key next week because the kicker looked as relaxed as anything, and that was 30. I mean, high school football, 37-yard ain't a. It's not not in Cleveland County.
It's not a gimme.
It's not a
gimme. Perfect on extra point.
Yeah.
And he's perfect on extra points for the year. Has not missed an extra point. I want to say it's 28, 29 of them in a row that he's hit. So he's done a very good job on the extra points. That was his first field goal. Hadn't hit a field goal all year. I don't think we've attempted a field goal all year, but was able to connect. And like I said, special teams. I think against Shelby, it did turn the tide there. The big punt by Shelby, and then the big punt return by Shelby. So it's important. And one other thing I was going to say is, Warlick also is our punt returner and one of our kickoff returners. So need him back. Hopefully he was a little bagged up from practice, so hopefully he's good to go and ready to play at Monroe next week.
Well, Tom, we appreciate you calling in, and good luck to Burns next week as they travel down to Monroe. I know it's a turf field down there too, so that'll be a fun time for everyone down there.
I just want to say before I go, overall player of the game, Max Davis, 5 rushes, 41 yards, rushing touchdown, 2 catches, only 13 yards, but had a touchdown, and that big touchdown he had in the second half sealed the game. So Davis with a rushing touchdown and a passing and a receiving touchdown was our player of the game, and the overall player of the game brought to you by S&R Auto Sales in Shelby. So we appreciate that. So Shannon, thanks for filling in for Kevin, Dennis, and Will. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you next week.
All right, Tom, we appreciate you, man, and congratulations to Max on the player of the game. We're waiting on I think Kevin's going to call in, and before while we're waiting on Kevin, if we want to.
Did Robbie say who his player of the game was?
No, I'll text Robbie. I'll text him, see who it is.
I'm not doubting without a doubt. I'm
right.
It's probably going to be 8. He had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. But
I'll go ahead and vote that way.
we got Steve Degree in, and we hadn't really talked about the Shelby game tonight. So I was waiting till at least Tom or David got through, then Tom, and so Steve, Shelby, a big win at home, 49-0. That sets up a great game against Maiden next week.
Yes, sir. First of all, I want to thank say a special prayer for that young man that played for Moorhead. Had an accident earlier this week. My heart and prayer goes out to his family for that young man. But getting back to the game, the very first play they did an onside kick, and Lorenzo Roseberg caught the ball on the front line and ran past the guys for a touchdown. So 7 seconds left in the game, we was up 7-0. Then we got the ball back and scored. Nick Norris, I think Nick Norris picked one off, ran it back for a touchdown. Christian Tate ran one in. And also Bubby Foster, number 1, Khalil Foster, we call him Bubby. He also caught a touchdown pass. And I think in one of our last scores, Lorenzo Roseberg again, on the receiving end of a touchdown from Kendrick Raper. And so we missed one extra point, Will. But when we scored the touchdown in the second half, Coach Wilbanks decided to go for 2 so we could get the running clock. Because if we would have kicked the field goal, I mean the extra point, it only been 41. So, in high school football, it has to be 42. So he intentionally went for 2 so we could get the running clock because it was getting cold. Plus the first half was full of penalties. Almost at 9 o'clock, we still was in the still playing the first half. We got to clean up some penalties too, because we had a lot of illegal procedures and all this and that, and a whole bunch of penalties and flags. So they get that first game jitters out, and because we can't have
and
those.
They've been off a week.
And we can't.
Come
Yes,
off about a week.
we can't have those penalties going further down the road, and then we decided to rest some of our starters and get some guys in. A lot of our JV kids played, and we just wanted to finish up pretty healthy for next week, because you got to play them one at a time. And so if you can get your starters in and get you a good lead, as a coach, you pull them out, let them rest.
All right, Steve, let's talk about Maiden.
Well,
let me interrupt you, Steve. Trooper Wright, that's the name of the kid for
number 4.
Yeah, for Moorhead. Trooper Wright's his name.
Yeah, he was number 4.
Yeah.
The first thing I think about, probably 1995 or something. Maiden last time they played him, I think Maiden came to Shelby and did the pile-on in the middle of our 50-yard line.
I was at that game. I remember that.
Did a pile-on in the middle of our football field.
That went over well, didn't it?
It did. That's the first time I know Coach Norman. We always call the dogs off. That's the first time I know Coach Norman did not call the dogs off. Because that's like coming in your living room, kicking over your coffee table while you got your best tea or your best coffee sitting there. They just come in your living room and kick over your coffee table. And I think we had 52 for halftime, if I'm not mistaken, where he did pull the dogs off.
So what you're saying is, Maiden, don't come do the dog pile on the Shelby field.
I promise you, I promise you, they won't do it.
If they do it,
I promise you, they won't do it.
Well, we can't stop them from doing it. If they do,
I promise you, they won't do it. Well, they ain't forgot that night.
Well,
that night still rings out in the. They still having nightmares of that night. I promise you, they won't do it.
Yeah, let's see. Let me interrupt you. We got a phone call. We'll come back to that.
Okay,
that is a good point. We'll come back to that. Jeff Miller. Did he hang up? He did hang up. Okay, well, Jeff call back. But yeah, that night, that Maiden game, that was like, I think even the fans. I know my mom was at that game. Now that she's passed away now, but. Like even old women were in the stands. They were ready to go out there and fight.
Yes, yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They were ready.
2 things, Steve, remind me of
go.
that. When Burns beat y'all and the coach from Burns, who shall remain nameless, went over towards the Shelby stands and showed his gratitude to the Shelby Lions, I thought, they're coming out of the stands.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
And they told him not to do that again, and he continued to do it, so. Everybody know who it is, but he's no longer at Burns anymore. So, but he's still coaching. He's okay. But.
He's actually sitting at home now. To play.
No, he's sitting at home.
Yeah, he's done. So, but no, that's a good point. Things like that. because if I'm not mistaken, Maiden, they were ranked high. They were ranked pretty high in the state that year because I guess they were 1A. Shelby was 2A. Is that right? Or were they both 2A?
I can't remember. I think they was in our conference.
They were in our
conference,
conference,
I think.
yeah, with West Lincoln, and it was Bunker Hill.
Right.
Back when they weren't as strong as they are now, obviously.
East Burke
was in that one. That's correct. Yeah, and
Drone and
Patton.
Yeah.
So but it's things like that, little things during the. I mean, we talk about things that go on during the game, but little things that take place before the game that could set the tone of the game for itself, and that could change the whole.
I promise you they are weary of the 50-yard line in the Shelby Stadium, in Pearlie Allen Stadium on Pearlie Allen Field.
Right?
Yeah,
George Blanton Stadium.
George Blanton Stadium, Pearlie Allen Field. I promise you, they are weary of that 50-yard line.
Will, you never heard that song? Don't spit in the wind. Don't tug on Superman's cape.
Don't tug
and don't do
on
the dog
Superman
pile.
cape.
Shelby home field.
In the wind.
When that happened, I was shocked. I didn't know what to say. Yeah. You know, like I said, Coach Norman, he didn't call the dogs off that night.
Yeah.
We pound them and pound them.
I don't think it's anybody here don't remember that night. It was horrifying what Shelby did to them that night.
And that the coach, I think it was Coach Brian at the time.
Tom Brown.
No, not Tom Brown.
No, not Tom.
The main coach. Tom Brown was the head coach, but I think the offensive coordinator, son, was the quarterback. And they said they didn't know the kids were going to do it. But to me, they had to do it because they had to practice it because they had it.
They did it at some point.
They had it down pat. So I'm thinking they had practiced it.
They did it at some point.
Because they pile looked better than I pile. So that night.
I can't believe this. They done came and did the pile on better than we did it.
Yeah.
They had a scouting report on you.
They did. And,
they did it on the 50. They did it in the middle of the field. They didn't even run to the sideline.
No. So that's the first thing I think about when we play maybe outside Coach Brown.
So I think we're having another phone call here. All right, Jeff.
Jeff.
This is Jeff Miller on the phone. Jeff, you there?
All right.
Jeff.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Hey, Jeff, where did you go tonight?
I went to watch East Lincoln at Kings Mountain.
All right. Tell us all about it, Jeff.
Well, it was a back-and-forth affair, in the first half. Of course, Kings Mountain failed on their first chance to get on the board early, and then East Lincoln took advantage. And it was just East Lincoln would score, then Kings Mountain would answer, and then, it just went on and on like in the first half. And I feel like Kings Mountain might have turned the point of, I think it was a turning point of the game when Kings Mountain tied it up at 21 right before halftime, and when Kings Mountain stopped East Lincoln early in the third quarter and went up 28-21. I really felt like the momentum was shifting from then. And then Kings Mountain, basically, I felt like when they scored to make it 35-21, that, that was kind of like the nail to the coffin.
You talk about East Lincoln. I know they had a good quarterback this year, but what was the running back, the Daly kid? Is that Chris Daly, or is that his name?
Christopher.
Daly, I think they call him.
Right. How did he do tonight against that big Kings Mountain defense?
I think he scored one touchdown, but Jackson Dollar, I believe, had two touchdown receptions on the night, and then, of course, Jackson Beam had that one late in the fourth quarter where basically he was all alone. Which made it 35-28.
Right.
So, I mean, that's, Kings Mountain showed that they got a few chinks in the armor tonight, but, there were a few times that they bent, but they did not break. And I feel like that was the difference in the game right there. The times Kings Mountain bent and they could have broken, but they did not. And then when East Lincoln on two separate occasions had the ball around the Kings Mountain 30, and they got turned away either by penalty or by lost yardage on plays. And because in the first half, when they
when that happened, they had to punt, and Kings Mountain's defense, they basically stood up when they really needed to.
Well, Jeff, it looks like that Kings Mountain will be playing Robinson next week. Do you know anything about them? Have you had an opportunity to see them or hear anything about them?
Well, I hear that a lot of their scores have been lopsided, in their favor, but I think their conference or some of those area teams are very down this year. So we'll see. I think Kings Mountain might be a tad bit more battle-tested than Robinson is. But, this is why we play the game.
Absolutely, they were more battle-tested. Kings Mountain come out of Murder's Row. That conference, Kings Mountain, Crest, South Point, Ashbrook, Hunter Huss, that's Murder's Row.
Yes.
That's Murder's Row. They beat up on each other. They drop their scores down. They get ranked different because they play a tough competition all year. It don't every year in that conference you got to come out and you got to play. It don't make no difference what night you playing. You got to play because on any given night in that conference, I can think of 2 games that you can take a break. Forest View, of course, and Stuart Crane. Those be the only 2 games that you can take a break in that conference.
Possibly North Gaston.
Possibly North Gaston.
And another thing too, if y'all guys coming out of that conference, Will, like you say, even though Kings Mountain beat Crest had a higher seed than Kings Mountain, so that shows you that the schedule got them a higher ranking.
Right.
Steve, I know I'm always accused of being a Crest guy for some reason, but think about that. They lost 2 games by a total of 2 points.
Right, and that's what got Crest the higher seed.
Yeah.
And people don't understand, like Shelby, our strength of schedule got us the number 2 seed in the West.
Yeah.
Because I think Randomman we had the same record we did, and I think the other Monroe was undefeated. I think.
I think y'all got shafted this year, as far as seating was, and I think Burns definitely got shafted this year. They didn't shaft those 2 teams. They didn't. They didn't seed those 2 teams the way they should have.
Well, I think Shelby come out okay. I thought we was gonna get a 3 or 4, but we end up getting a 2. So,
I think they should. I think really and truly in the West, I think Shelby is the number 1 team in the West, without a doubt.
The proposal, Steve, is in the future to seed these teams not by conference championship but by RPI. Right. Jeff, what do you think about that?
I'm not too fond of the new RPI system. I think if you are undefeated in your conference, and you're undefeated overall, I think you should have the a higher seed. Because basically you earned it. I mean, every team that you have played on your schedule, you have beaten, and that's why I was kind of blown away that Hickory wasn't an automatic number 1 seed.
Right.
Yes.
Well, you'd think being undefeated and the defending state champion,
same thing
it's a no-brainer that they'd be the number 1 seed.
That happened to Shelby before, too. That happened to us one time, too.
So, who's the overall number 1 in
Irwin?
Irwin in 3A.
That's wild. that's wild.
Got to go up to the mountain.
So that game next week, that will be Kings Mountain. That will be at Robinson, correct?
Because Robinson's higher.
Yeah, because Robinson's a higher seed.
Is that in Mecklenburg County? Is Robinson Mecklenburg County?
Jeff, where's
No, Robinson is in Cabarrus County.
Okay.
In Concord, yeah.
They're in Concord.
Yeah. So
they're like right behind the Speedway.
Robinson, hello. Welcome to 3A football. You get the kids from Murder's Row for your second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And it's not just y'all's conference that y'all were battle tested. I mean, you guys played some good non-conference opponents as well, such as Shelby and Burns. So, I mean, I'd say up and down, except for, my alma mater, which it breaks my heart to see them like this, Forest View. But y'all's schedule, Kings Mountain schedule up and down has been pretty impressive, I would say.
Yeah. All right, Jeff. Well, listen, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We appreciate you calling in, and whichever game you go to next week, don't hesitate to call in after the game's over. Okay.
Hey, you bet.
Thank you, man. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Do the same.
All right, thanks. We're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to go through the scores because we hadn't mentioned them in a minute. So, JP, it's yours. We'll be back here on KTC.
You're listening to The Boss, WHS, Shelby, North Carolina, your beach oldies and sports stations. Online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
From the KTC Broadcasting Weather Center, here's your forecast for Cleveland and Gaston counties. Mostly clear skies tonight with a low around 38. Sunny on Saturday, the high 64. Mostly clear Saturday night, a low in the upper 30s to near 40. Sunshine on Sunday, the high 66. Partly cloudy Sunday night, the low 42. Looking ahead to Monday, mostly sunny and nice with a high near 70. From the KTC Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Johnny Cottle for WOHS and WCSL.
Currently from the KTC Broadcasting Studios, it's
11:10, and the temperature is 48 degrees.
The going out of business sale just got bigger and better at Kurt's Premium Outlet in East Ridge Mall on North New Hope Road in Gastonia. The markdown is now 35% on everything in the store. No matter what, it's 35% off. Furniture, bedding, recliners, clothing, electronics, toys, and Christmas items, and decorations too. Again, everything is now 35% off. All during the going out of business sale at Kurt's Premium Outlet in East Ridge Mall on North New Hope Road in Gastonia.
Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on this farm he had some chicks, E-I-E-I-O, with a tick tick here and a tick tick there, here a tick, there a tick, everywhere a tick tick. Old MacDonald.
If old MacDonald had a farm today, he'd have a Coyote tractor on it for sure. Test drive one at your local Coyote dealer.
Your Coyote dealer is West End Sales, Highway 18 North, Highway 27 intersection west in Vale. Wet basement, wet crawl space, mold or mildew, Neeline Coal, moisture and water control can help. Let them control the moisture in your home to keep it safe from fungal growth, mold colonization, and its destruction. Neeline Coal, proudly serving the Carolinas. Call Neeline Coal today at 704-434-9411, extension 2, for your free estimate. That's Neeline Coal, moisture and water control. Bridges Hardware, locally owned and operated in Kings Mountain, is one of Cleveland County's longest continuously operated businesses. Fully independent and family owned, they have the ability to make choices of how much and from whom they buy in their mission to deliver value and quality to their customers. In October, True Value filed for bankruptcy, but that in no way impacts Bridges Hardware's ability to continue providing the same quality goods and services that customers expect. So stop in for great service, value, and relationships that Bridges has delivered for nearly 140 years. Bridges Hardware, at the corner of King and Chancellor Streets, Kings Mountain.
Former club members Denzel Washington and Jennifer Lopez for the Boys and Girls Clubs.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future.
You can change a child's future. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
You can open doors for children to have great futures at the Boys and Girls Club of Cleveland County. Visit us at 412 West Sumter Street or at greatfutures.org.
And we're back on the Full Throttle Powersports of Laurel postgame show with Shannon and the gang.
All right, JP, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we're going to go over these scores real quick. I think Kevin's supposed to be calling in on his way back from the Northland, if you will, up there at North Surrey. So Will, you want to take the left column, Dennis the middle, Steve, you want to take the...
Let me take the right column.
Okay, you take the right column. All right, so Dennis, you want to take the middle, Steve, you take the first one?
That'd be fine. You're the boss man tonight.
All right, it was West Charlotte Lions.
That's gotta be a final. I can't find it online, but
all right, we're gonna call it a final. Yeah. West Charlotte Lions over the Hunter Huskies 40-0. It was the West Rowan Falcons over the Freedom Patriots 35-21. Kings Mountain over East Lincoln 38-28. Robinson over Northeast Gifford 28-0. Hickory Red Tornadoes 53, Tuscola 0. Statesville 15, Franklin 13. Oak Grove 49, North Iredale 13, Crest 49, Eastern Gifford 10, West Henderson 27, South Rowan 12, North Lincoln 43, North Davidson 13, Ashbrook 24, Northwest Cabarrus 7, South Point 42, and somebody told me what that was. Montreal Central. Montgomery Central. I can't, it's blended. I'm sorry, y'all. Montgomery Central 7. Dennis.
Thank you, sir. All right, we've got Reedsville 59, RS Central 22. We've got East Rutherford Cavaliers 35, and we've got the North Surrey Greyhounds 25. We got the Bunker Hill Bears 55 and the Hendersonville Bearcats 26. We've got the Brevard Blue Devils 42, the Anson Bearcats 6. We've got the Forest Hill Yellow Jackets 35, the Lexington Orange Jackets 12. We've got the Randleman Tigers 30 and the East Gaston Warriors 7. We have the Monroe Redhawks 69, the T.W. Andrews Red Raiders 0. We have the Burns Bulldogs 24, the North Stanley Comets 10. We have the Mount Pleasant Tigers 36. We have the West Lincoln Rebels 35. We have the Community School of Davidson 42 and the Bandy's Trojans 6. We sure about that, Shannon?
Yes.
We have the Maiden Blue Devils 28 and the Lincolnton Wolves 23. And we have the Shelby Golden Lions 42, the Moorhead Panthers 0.
All right, let me see. Can I see my side?
Look at this.
So can you see it up there?
Okay, it was the Mount Airy Granite Bears 68, Thomas Jefferson Griffon 0. It was the Mount Island Charter Raptors 36, the Bishop McGinnis Villains 27. It was the South Stanley
Rowdy Rebel Bulls.
The Rowdy Rebel Bulls. Wow.
I'm surprised you didn't know that, Steve.
What kind of name is that? The South Stanley. Anyway, South Stanley beat Avery County 28-7. It was Starmount Rams 51, Andrew Wildcat 0. It was the Carvin Community Cardinals 49, the Elkin Bucks 0, Mitchell Wolverines 32, the Drawing Wildcats 28. It was the North Rowan Cavaliers 41, the Trevor Ironman 34. It was the East Wilkes Cardinals 49, the Albemarle Bulldogs 28, the Murphy Bulldogs 62, the Highland Tech Rams 6. Allegheny Trojans lost to the Christ King 31-28, and it was the Bessemer City Yellow Jackets 38, South Stoke Storms 14, and it was the Robertson Black Knights defeating the Thomasville Bulldogs 20-7. And fellas, when I was reading that, you remember back in the day, Albemarle and Thomasville would always that would be the top dog.
Fight. Yeah,
they always would be the top dogs in that division right there. T.A. McClinton and
we mentioned him on the pregame show. That's exactly Albemarle. That's what we said when Albemarle had McClendon. You know they had athletes,
right?
And something has happened down there. I don't know. I don't know either. That's one of those it's mystery things.
Everybody done grew up, moved out. Yeah. And they ain't come back, put no kids on there. So now all the athletes done grew up, moved out, and their kids are out somewhere else.
Well, not only that, Will, but there's so many new schools
in that area. That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
You take that kids that used to form that nucleus, and Daddy played football over the Albemarle, but I go over here to this new school.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I want to say congratulations to young man Adam Weber. He's down at Independence now. Used to be over at Shelby. They defeated Mount Tabor tonight, and it was a big score. It was 35-0 when last I saw. They were Independence won there. Also down east, we got an upset. We got a team ranked 30th defeated a number 3 seed. J.H. Rose defeated Northern Nash 32-25.
Shut up. Northern Nash dropped that game.
That's a huge upset. Yeah,
that is a big upset.
I'll bet Havelock won, though, didn't they?
Yeah, Havelock, I think they did.
What was they 3A or 4A?
They were 3A. 3A. I don't know.
Hey, Northern Nash was one of the
Rose beat
dogs
Northern Nash
on that side.
Yeah, so Rose down there near Greenville, East Carolina University.
Wow.
And yeah, that's so again, first round can bring upsets. There really weren't. Well, there was one, I think, Dennison and Will and I, we talked about that, Steve, before you got here. That was Community School of Davison defeating Bandy's pretty handily, 42-6, and I think that was an upset.
They was at home though.
Bandits used to be in our company.
Community School of Davison was at home, so is that an upset?
I think it is because it's Community School of Davison. To me, that's like a charter school. That's
right.
I mean, obviously they done something because they had a home game. They was ranked higher.
Well, the thing is, look at, you got Ashbrook and Northwest Cabarrus there. They both had the same record at 8-2. One of them had to have the home game, the other one didn't. Community School of Davison did finish. I think they were second in their conference. Bandy's was maybe third or fourth. They were low. But again, it's Bandy's. You think Bandy's always going to have a good team.
Right, Bandy's always.
And the competition.
Traditionally.
They used to be in our conference.
Yeah.
I remember that one year they beat
Years
us.
ago.
Yeah, they beat us in the playoffs. 20-22. I still remember the score.
I remember
beaters.
going to watch Corey play against Bandy. That was years ago.
That was the game that when Van Extra caught the pass on his face mask. That one year, it was so many people at Bandits. The Shelby game.
That's when Norris Hopper was quarterback, wasn't it?
Yeah. Actually, I thought it was.
Well, the Norris was quarterback. We went up there. We couldn't sit down. You had to stand up the entire game.
Right.
Yeah.
It was when he coaches Ashbrook. Now he was the quarterback. Keith.
Oh, Keith Brooks.
Keith Brooks was the quarterback.
Keith Brooks.
And they threw the pass to Van. Coach Van. And Van caught on his face mask. Went for the touchdown. The fence fell down. That's how.
Yeah.
That's how good Bandits used to be. You had to be right when you go up there to play them.
Yeah, they were always a tough out for sure. Right. So yeah, we got some matchups set up for next week. We've got
I think the most interesting one, right off gate,
Statesville and Hickory.
Mine would be East Rutherford and Reesville, because I'm gonna tell you why. East Rutherford went toe to toe with North Lincoln earlier this year. 56, 55. Right. So, and I think I'm way highly more thinking of North Lincoln more than I think of Reedsville. So I don't think they think East Rutherford's gonna come up there and lay down like RS.
Ain't gonna happen.
They got to play next week. Yeah, they gonna have to. Reedsville is going to have to play next week.
Yeah, East Rutherford's got the Flynn brothers. One's a quarterback, and then they got the Pinkerton kid at running back.
Right.
And they're big across the front line. So they're it's not gonna be an easy pushover.
They're not going to intimidate Coach.
No,
Coach Russ
definitely not going to intimidate.
Coach Russ is not going to have that. They're not going to be intimidated when they go up there. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah, we got a guy that coaches one of our softball teams at the park and one of our basketball teams as well. His name's Orlando Goolsby. Kevin was talking about him when he called in earlier.
Right.
And Orlando, he coaches there, either running backs or quarterbacks, one of them. And he's all pumped up. He was pumped up this week about going back to Reedsville and playing and I was like, well, you got to win this one first.
Yeah.
He said, we're going to win this one. He said, but we want Reedsville.
Yeah, his son plays up there too. Landon.
Receiving. Yeah,
Landon. He played for Shelby freshman.
Played for Shelby, played at Burns, and then he's at East Rutherford.
Right.
Yeah. So, Land. I think I'm Land, maybe Oglesby. But, yeah. So, again, those are some good matchups in the 2A. That's Will, yours is in 2A. Dennis, what do you think next week, a good matchup next week would be?
Well,
excluding Crest.
Of course, excluding Crest, I would not dare pick that Oak Grove Crest game. But I got to go with that Ashbrook and South Point game.
That's gonna be
round 2.
Yes, sir.
Round 2.
Coach Hodge play Thursday.
Come back in here.
Yeah, exactly.
On Murders Row.
Coach Adam Hodge.
And this game
Thursday,
is not played at Ashbrook. This game will be played at South Point, and you boys
Already
know
down
what
7.
the deal is.
Already down 7.
It's the playoffs. They're down
You look at
14 walking in the stadium.
You look at the scoreboard, Will, and right now it says South Point 14, Ashbrook 0.
See, that will be a great game. That may be the game of the week around here for sure, because you mentioned it is a rematch, and Ashbrook won that game the first time around.
Yeah, 15-12, something like that.
Yeah, it's close ball game. Absolutely.
Here's the thing, Shannon. Whichever one of them teams wins, you're probably looking at North Lincoln the following week. You talk about another slobber knocker.
It's going to be a good game.
It's going to be over quick.
But it's going to be over quick.
It's going to be over quick.
It's going to be
they're not going to throw it. It's going to be over quick.
It's going to be over
That'll be Thanksgiving week. So that'll be a fun week all around. Steve,
did you say something about turkey, Steve?
Steve, what do you think your game? And obviously, I think I know where you're going. But where do you think, besides Shelby Maiden, let's leave that one out. We know that's going to be a good game.
That's going.
What do you think the game of the week's going to be? Because I think this is Kevin calling in now. So,
okay, I already picked the Hickory Statesville game.
Hickory Statesville, okay.
Yeah, I picked that game because they're in the same conference.
Yeah. So, Kevin, you here yet?
I think y'all got me. Y'all got me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Kevin. Come on through.
Kevin, we just talking about East Rutherford. How was that game tonight up at, first of all, how was the drive to North Surrey?
How was the what?
The drive.
The drive?
Yeah.
Oh, about 2 hours and 15 minutes from Cherville.
You didn't take the KTC helicopter?
No, we should have. We thought about taking the pink Cadillac, but didn't. But
party wagon. Yeah, that would have been great.
Did y'all hear me? I barely hear y'all.
We can hear you fine.
I got to adjust my phone. That's probably what it is. But anyway, so tonight, guys, what was the score? 35-25. It should have been 50-6. East Rutherford had over 400 yards on offense, and until the last drive, North Surrey had -7.
Wow.
And then they put like 80 yards passing on the board real quick, and then so they ended up in the positive. But before the last drive, East Rutherford held them to negative yards, y'all. They were winning 18 to North Surrey was winning the game 18-14 with -9 yards total, and -44 if you count the penalty yards, and was up 18-14.
Well, your dad and I were listening to you on doing that game, and we couldn't figure out how that was taking place.
Well, so East, yeah, it didn't matter whatever they did. So North had all the big plays. Like I said, they had no yards, had nothing. So East comes in, and Flynn threw both quarterbacks throw beautiful balls. They just threw it into double coverage a couple times tonight, and so it got to be an issue. The first one was picked off by the safety. It was like 4th and 17 or something. They were throwing it deep out, and it was almost like one of those punts where once the guy caught it, there was nobody else fast on that side of the field, and it was just the quarterback and the lineman, and like 2 guys blocked the quarterback, and the lineman had no chance of catching that DB. And I mean, and he threw a deep pass. He had 2 deep go left, 2 deep go right. He throws it left, the safety picks it off, and there's nobody ever to catch him. So he had a 93-yard pick six that made it 7-6. So that's how they scored the first one. And then to open up the second half, it was 14-6 after halftime, and then open up the second half, they returned the kickoff. So they're sitting there with at that point, minus 25 yards, and it's 14-12. And then East almost hit a skinny post for a touchdown, and they just missed it earlier. Well, the second time they run it, I was in the booth next to one of their coaches, and as soon as they run, I was like, scares the skinny post, but here comes the safety. Yep, he picked it. Like, he read it. He saw it, so he knew exactly what they were doing. So he returns it all the way down to the 2-yard line, 70-some yards. So then they punch it in for a 2-yard touchdown. So now they're at minus 9 yards or 10 yards, and they're winning 18-14.
Oh, wow. Okay.
defense scored all the points.
Yeah. How did you said East Rutherford had all them yards? What just Flynn and Pinkerton's who did Flynn throw to mostly? Besides
Flynn didn't throw
North Surrey.
anybody because Brandon Pinkerton had 43 carries for 325 yards.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Player of the game.
Player of the world. His tongue was all hanging out. They had two other kids. McClellan had 45 yards, and Watkins had 65 yards. Watkins, guys, he's not really a natural running back, I don't think, but he kind of reminds me of like Eddie George, where he's so much bigger than everybody else that nobody really wants to tackle him. He's 6'3", 255, and so he's going to be the one that may have to check Mr. Reedsville over there, tight end. I don't know the kid's name, but he's the one that may have to play with defense on, and they got their hands full. But no, they ran the ball. They had over 400 yards rushing tonight. They didn't need to throw the ball at all. And he threw basically two pick sixes, so they were done with that.
Right. I was going to say, he threw to North Surrey more than he did to them.
That might be the key for East Rutherford next week. They can get the lead and run the ball.
Their best defense will be their offense.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Pinkerton he runs real hard. It's kind of like it's almost like watching South Point, where he'll get 3, 4, 5, and then boom, there's 27 yards or 30 yards. It's kind of how it looks like. They're not running the option like that, but they're just. It seems like what they do is work aside of the line or ball, and when they find a weakness, they'll go no huddle and then pound it, and boom, they'll hit that hole, and then Pinkerton's out, and with a big gap, and he's gone. So nice little team. I think they can give Reedsville a scare if they don't turn it over, guys. Who knows? It's football.
Yeah, you never know. That's what we were talking about before, Kevin. A lot of people. Well, actually, we talked about on the pregame show. A lot of people aren't giving East Rutherford credit because they've been under the radar pretty much all year. But then here they are, and I think they match up pretty good with Reedsville. To be honest with you, but
guys, their defense tonight. Every carry in the book. I think they had one or maybe two positive carries all night.
Yeah.
That was it. Everything was negative. Nothing. There was nothing. They snuffed out everything tonight. So the defense needs all the kudos they can get.
Did you happen to catch? Did you talk to Coach Russ any?
I did before the game, not after the game.
Okay.
He gave me a little insight and stuff, and I thought it'd be a little closer. They should have won 50-6. The big plays, it was kind of just killed them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
All right, guys, y'all have a good night. I'm getting to bed up here.
All right, man, be good. We'll talk to you sometime next week. You got playoffs starting next week too, right? You know that, right?
Eat all my fish. I'll see y'all in the morning.
All right, see you, man.
All right, bye.
So that's Kevin Hastings doing the East Rutherford and North Surrey game.
That game tonight, he broadcast it, and it was just him.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have a partner broadcasting with him. So hats off to Kevin for doing an outstanding job, keeping up with the stats, broadcasting the game all by himself. So thumbs up to Kevin there.
And so we're going to take another break here. We're getting ready to wrap up everything up. So
you want to run them off before we take the break?
No, we're going to take a break first because JP's about to climb through the window. So we'll take a break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
From the KTC Broadcasting Weather Center, here's your forecast for Cleveland and Gaston counties. Mostly clear skies tonight with a low around 38. Sunny on Saturday, the high 64. Mostly clear Saturday night, a low in the upper 30s to near 40. Sunshine on Sunday, the high 66. Partly cloudy Sunday night, the low 42. Looking ahead to Monday, mostly sunny and nice with a high near 70. From the KTC Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Johnny Cottle for WOHS and WCSL.
Currently from the KTC Broadcasting Studios, it's
11:33, and the temperature is 48 degrees.
Don't miss the Yamaha Let's Ride sales event at Full Throttle Powersports in Gastonia. Now financing as low as 5.99% on 36 months with approved credit, and save up to $3,000 on the off-road Kawasaki motorcycles. And choose your Suzuki 800. Lock in your rate and jump on a new Kawasaki 800 with financing as low as 1.99% APR for 36 months at Full Throttle Powersports, 100 Indian Walk in Lowell. Online at ncfullthrottle.com.
Tyndall Ford Roush in Gastonia is celebrating their 50th year of doing business in Gaston County and the surrounding area. Family owned and family operated, supporting our local community. You too can be a part of the Tyndall family. Right now, a few 2023 models are left in stock. Brand new vehicles ready to roll. You save thousands of dollars. There's a vehicle for every lifestyle at Tyndall Ford Roush, 1901 East Franklin Boulevard in Gastonia. Online at tyndallford.com. Come help celebrate 50 years of business at Tyndall Ford Roush, Gastonia.
This month's Scholar Athlete of the Month is Cecilia Dell Cowan of West Lincoln, sponsored by McDonald's, KTC Broadcasting, and What'sUpShopper.com. Cecilia is the daughter of Chelsea Cowan and plays tennis, basketball, and softball at West Lincoln. Cecilia has a grade point average of 4.66. Her advanced courses include AP Language, Biology, Chemistry, Government, Stats, and Spanish. She's a member of the student leadership team and a member of the band. Stacia is involved in Christian ministries and the school lighthouse team. After graduation, Stacia plans to attend Lenorine College and play softball. The Scholar Athlete of the Month recognizes a student athlete not only for accomplishments in athletics, but also for overall achievements in the classroom and for overall school and community citizenship.
Jeff's Auto Sales in Shelby and in Lincoln. They are the home of the $500 down payment. For over 30 years, Jeff's Auto Sales has been serving this area with great pre-owned vehicles. They have many financing options to choose from, including on-the-lot financing, and they are locally owned and operated. Again, $500 down and you could be driving away in your next vehicle. Come in for all the details at Jeff's Auto Sales in Shelby at 4490 East Dixon Boulevard and in Lincoln at 3081 East Highway 27. Online at jeffsautosales.com. Tune in for Down Home with Milton Baker, Monday through Friday from 9 to 11 o'clock on Carolina Country WCSL, 92.9 FM, 1590 AM, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
And we're back on the Full Power Sports of Lowell postgame show with Shannon and the guys.
Yeah, there we go. All right, we in here
All right,
now.
we're rocking now.
We're rocking and rolling. So let's go through the scores one more time, and then we'll wrap everything up here. We got about 8 minutes, and so guys, I'll let y'all read the scores up.
West Charlotte won tonight, 40-0 over Hannah Huss. West Rowan 35, Freedom 21, Kings Mountain 38. It's early. Kings Mountain 38, East Lincoln 28, Robinson 28, Northeastern Guilford 0, Hickory 53, Tuscola 0, Statesville 15, Franklin 13, Oak Grove 49, North Idale 13, Crest 49, East Guilford 10. With West Henderson 27, South Rowan 12, North Lincoln 43, North Davidson 13, Ashbrook 24, Northwest Cabarrus 7, South Point 42. Say it again.
Montgomery Central
7.
All right. We've got Reedsville tonight, 59, RS Central 22. We've got, East Rutherford Cavaliers 35, North Surrey 25. We've got Bunker Hill 55, Hendersonville 26, Brevard Blue Devils 42, Anson Bearcats 6. We got Forest Hill Yellow Jackets 35, Lexington Orange Jackets 12. We've got the Randleman Tigers 30, the East Gaston Warriors 7, the Monroe Redhawks 69, T.W. Andrews 0. We got the Burns Bulldogs, is that 24?
Yes.
24, and the North Stanley Comets 10. We've got the Mount Pleasant Tigers 36 and the West Lincoln Rebels 35. We got the Community School of Davidson 42, the Bandy's Trojans 6. We've got the Maiden Blue Devils 28, the Lincolnton Wolves 23, And we've got the Shelby Golden Lions, Steve, 42. The Moorhead Panthers, 0.
You gonna do the last one? You want me to do it?
You can do it. Knock it out.
All right, here I go again, y'all. Got Mount Airy Granite Bears, 68. Thomas Jefferson, 0. Got the Mount Island Raptors, 36. Benham McGinnis, 27. We got South Stanley Bulls, Rebel Bulls, 20.
Rowdy Rebel Bulls.
Rowdy Rebel Bulls.
Rowdy Rebel Bulls, 28. Avery County Vikings, 7. We got the Starmount Rams, 51. The Andrew Wildcats, 0. We got Community Cardinals, 49. The Bucking Elves, 0. We got Mitchell County Mountaineers, 32. Join, 28. We got North Rowan Cavaliers, 41. Trevor Ironman, 34. We got the East Cardinals, 49. Albemarle Bulldogs, 28. We got Murphy Bulldogs, 62. Highland Tech Rams, 6. We got Christ the King, 31. Allegheny Trojans, 28. We got the Vestment City Yellow Jackets, 38. South Stokes, 14. And the Robinson Black Knights, 20. And the Thomasville Bulldogs, 7.
All right. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So, and too, people can go online. You can find the other scores, again, down east or in the central part of the state. But we talked about the scores. We talked about games that are going to happen next week, what we think is going to be some big ball games, probably some more upsets as well. And, but that's why you play the game round 2.
Better yet, Shannon, they could tune in here to the Weatherspoon pregame show, and you and I will have all the answers.
All the answers?
Before it happens.
Yeah. Is that true to y'all had all the answers?
That's true. That's
the
just
Bandies beating Community School of Davidson by.
That's just like tonight. We both predicted that the Community School of Davidson would beat Bandies tonight.
Yeah, we absolutely nailed that.
I think I'm gonna rewind the tape on that, and I think I'm gonna hear that y'all both said it should be 42 Bandies, 6 Community School of Davidson.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Absolutely. But we did get Monroe right, Dennis. We nailed that one.
Yeah.
We were close on that one for sure.
But, Shannon, we're like the weatherman. He can tell you tomorrow it's going to rain, and if it don't matter. You're just happy you got a sunshiny day.
There you go. So, congratulations. Congratulations to all the local schools around here. I know big win for Bessemer City. They advanced to round 2 for them going up to they'll play up at Robbinsville next week. Let's see who else we got.
North Lincoln is the only Lincoln County school left in the play.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until he said that. I was like,
also, you didn't get my players. You didn't get the Shepherd player games.
Yeah, we got to do those real quick. Yeah.
I got a question. Was there any Cleveland County team that didn't win?
No,
there was not.
Oh,
okay.
We Cleveland County, baby. So Shelby's player of the game was Lorenzo Roseburg, number 20. Like I said, he ran the opening kickout back for the touchdown. He also caught a touchdown. And on defense, I will pick Nick Norris, who got the pick 6 and ran it back for a touchdown, and a bunch of number of tackles for another shutout win. I think let's make 5 shutouts in Shelby this year.
Yeah, Nick's he's the key for that linebacking position. If you ever watch him play, he plays like he's got about 5 chips on his shoulder.
Listen,
he's like that in practice.
Yeah,
he's like that in practice.
He plays wide open, but the spark plug, the wheel that makes Shelby go, they don't talk about him enough because he's an offense and defensive lineman. 5'5" is the wheel that makes Shelby go. He is the spark plug.
What's his name?
I don't know his name.
Nigel Woods.
Woods. Okay. He go. You see him go down the line, and he's getting he touching everybody for the game. He's getting everybody. He's the spark plug. He really is the spark plug of that team. Like I love that kid. I love his motor. I love his motor. But 5'5" to me is the spark plug. You can see when a bad play happens. You can see some of the kids' heads drop. You can see him get right back in there. Right. Now he don't get called out enough for. And then he played ball. He's a good ball player, but again, he played offense and defensive line.
Yeah.
So he's not one of the glamour spots.
He's behind the scenes.
But he is.
Also,
I mean, he's the spark plug down there. I'm telling you, he's the motor for Shelby.
Also, we got Justin Ross, 59. He plays offense and defense. So we got a lot of good quality young men to play for Shelby High.
Yeah.
Some of them, like Justin, he ain't got no choice. Justin has to go both ways. But to get back to Woods, he's our fire. He's our spark plug. On sometimes they have a bad day, and he's not gonna let you have a bad day. Try to keep you pepped up. We got a lot of kids like that. We also got the Harris kid, number 45. He keep Achilles. He keeps us fired up. And on defense, I like number 6, Jay Money. We call him Jay Money, Jaden Anderson. We got 2 safeties guys, 5'5", but they would lay the wood to you. Right. Number 22 and number 6 is our safeties. They will put the wood to you. They ain't afraid to hit you.
Yeah, so guys, that's the end. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. That's the end of the post game show. I appreciate Will, Dennis, and Steve making this an easy night for me because normally I'm not here this late. So thank you to all three of you. You've done a great job.
We've done it long enough. We can run it with our eyes closed.
Yeah, you go.
We can't run it with our mouth closed.
Yeah, just sit around, eat fish, and tell lies, and read scores.
And they pay us for it.
They pay us for it.
So do y'all ever shut up?
So, JP, thank you for what you did, Cal.
Hey, football next week, y'all. Let's
Kevin
go.
as well. Yeah,
playoff time.
Round 2.
Playoffs?
And
talking about playoffs?
Yeah, follow
KTC
KTC on Twitter because he'll have the playoff brackets up again, or the games for next week, probably about Monday or Tuesday, and we'll be good to go. Hope every one of you have a good weekend, and guys, we'll see you next week.
See y'all next week.
Hasta la vista, baby.
And you never see me fair catch. I get a block and then I'm gone like a Learjet. My helmet on, pass strap tight. My jersey shining in them Friday night lights. Win, we just came to win. Win, we just came to win. Friday night lights. Friday night lights. Win, we just came to win. We must protect this house. I'm in a huddle talking to the Hawks. We gonna run it down their throat soon as we get the ball. Come out and fire off the ball, we going on one. My skill position so proficient, break for long runs. Come out running that option, that mean I got the option to keep that or pitch that. Defense, they gotta fix that. 4 receivers, we spread them out in the shotgun. Hot reads, I got some. My tight end, so awesome. Touchdowns, I toss some. We score 6, scoreboard, that score 6. Respect the ball, we protect the ball, we don't fumble.